Hi everyone, this is Veronica, and today we are going to talk about a report that is by Asian Development Bank, and this report is Asian Development Outlook 2019, Strengthening Disaster Resilience. Right, so we'll discuss about this. What is this report? What it has said about the economies of the Asian countries. So we'll discuss all this. For my video updates, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. This is a channel StudyIQ. If you're preparing for any government exam, our pen drive and tablet courses are also available. For additional information, you can call on these numbers or you can visit our website too. The PDF will be uploaded on our channel, on our website rather, in both the languages, Hindi and English. So now what is the relevance of this topic according to exam? See, in your mains paper, from UPSC perspective, mains paper 3, it will be included in inclusive growth and issues here. And at objective level, what are the highlights of the report? Subjective level, India's economic growth. So this is about the Asian countries, how it has an impact, what it has said about India's economic growth. That is more important for us from the exam perspective. Now, why it is in news? Because as I told you, they have given a flagship report. Flagship, that it is very relevant and credible report which is given by Asian Development Outlook 2019. ADB is the bank which has given it. Right, so in this report, basically ADB has cut India's growth forecast to 7.2% for 2019-20 because of a slower than expected pickup in investment demand. The growth rate in the financial year of 2020 and 21 is likely to be 7.3%. So that is what is expected by the ADB in its report. So firstly, if you're talking about Asian countries, you should know which countries are there in the Asia. So this is very important. Now, if we talk for Asia, right? So here are some point. ADB in its report, they have mentioned that government of India has taken various initiatives which are like government schemes, program and policies. They wanted to invest, they wanted to improve the investment climate, and they wanted to boost private consumption. This is what the government of India was trying to do through its policies, and this investment will help India to lift economic growth in the next 2 fiscal years. So actually they have appreciated the government of India for taking certain such steps where it will lift, increase and boost the economic growth in the next 2 fiscal years. And let's see what they are saying for the entire Asia. This multilateral agency is ADB. It has forecasted the growth. It will soften to 5.7% in 2019 and 5.6% in 2020. This is what they have forecasted. But they are saying though there is a cut in the economic growth of India, what has been expected or what has been said by various other agencies, but still India remains one of the fastest growing major economies in the world this year, given a strong household spending, corporate fundamentals. That is what this report has said. And coming more towards it, for example, as they have appreciated various initiatives of government of India, so among these initiatives are the income support to farmers, hikes in procurement prices for food grains. There is a tax relief also, this time to the taxpayers which are earning 5 lakh. So ultimately it will boost the household income. And moreover, the prices of the fuel and food have been declining, and they're also expected to provide an impetus for consumption also. So here you can see an increased utilization of production capacity by various firms along with the falling level of stressed assets held by the banks. So they have said the healthy banks are also one of the reasons for the strong economy for India, and moreover the banks have eased the credit restrictions. The government has not the banks but the easing of credit restrictions on certain banks, because earlier they have stressed assets and problem like that, but government have given them a boost, and it is expected to help investment growth at a healthy rate. Now there are some key findings, just coming to it, we'll discuss about them. Now ADB has estimated 7.6% economic growth in December 2018. So this is the first multilateral lending agency to slash India's growth estimate, because earlier IMF and RBI, Reserve Bank of India, had earlier projected 7.5% and 7.4% growth respectively. And despite this, India will still remain fastest growing economy, as I told you, because as China has also been, they have forecasted and projected to grow at 6.3% in 2019. So India basically has India's strong growth is because of two important things. These two important things is, one is strong household spending, second is corporate fundamentals. So in household spending, income support to farmers, hikes in procurement, and as I told you about the tax relief to the taxpayers who are earning less than 5 lakh, declining fuel and food prices. So this is improving giving a sight of strong household spending. And coming to corporate fundamentals, it is obviously because an increase in utilization production capacity, where the stressed assets are falling, right, and the credit restrictions have been eased up on certain banks. And then comes about imports. Imports are expected to rise mainly due to stronger domestic demand, and while a growth slowdown in India's key export destination would dent its export growth, so the current deficit is expected to widen a bit, that is to 2.4% of GDP in 2019 and 2.5% of GDP in 2020. But this deficit is still not anything to worry about, because it will be financed comfortably by capital flows, given that India has emerged as an attractive destination for foreign investment. So these 2 points can be linked, not this one, these two, imports and this, because when imports increases and your exports decreases, there's large amount of trade deficit between the two countries. But this trade deficit is not much of a concern to India because of the foreign investment. India for some years it is looking as an attractive investment for the foreign investors, right? But now coming to the inflation is expected to average around 4% in the first half of 2019, and therefore the Reserve Bank would have some room for lowering policy rates and further increasing credit. So this is all about various findings by this bank. Now we'll talk about certain concerns. What are the concerns here? See, the first concern here is global trade tensions. The growth forecast for India has come downside risks, such as there could be moderation in global demand as financial conditions tighten, uncertainty rising out of global trade tensions, and here we can see a weak economic outlook in industrial countries also, like the countries like China, Singapore, Hong Kong, the places like rather. So on the domestic front, growth could suffer if tax revenue falls short or any disruption affects the ongoing resolution of the twin problems of the bank and corporate balance sheets. So as I talk about some industrialized economies are South Korea, Singapore, China's Hong Kong, okay, and China's Taipei also. Developing Asia is forecast to expand at 6.2% and slightly slower 6.1% in 2020. Because in 2018 the growth was 6.4%. So however we have seen a decrease in it. So here we have talked about global trade tensions, the higher than expected moderation also. Tax revenue point I have already discussed with you, because as on the domestic front growth could suffer if tax revenue falls short or any disruption affects the ongoing resolution of the twin problems of the bank and corporate balance sheets, right? So lower than targeted tax revenue or a delay in strengthening bank and corporate balance sheets could also undermine economic expansion. Now disaster risk and costs are also rising in Asia. Particularly Asia is very vulnerable to these kind of things. Suitable policy interventions are required to keep disaster losses from spiraling into future and across the region. And spending on disaster prevention continues to lag far behind disaster response also, as access to credit, insurance, remittances remains sparse and uneven. Now, Asian Development Bank, that is why they have given this flagship report and figures to the world. So let's talk a little bit about this bank, Asian Development Bank. This Asian Development Bank was conceived in early 1960s. So it assists its members and partners by providing loans, technical assistance, grants and equity investments. Basically, they want to promote social and economic development. So you should know they are established on 19 December 1966, headquartered in Manila, Philippines. Official, they have a status of national United Nations observer also. So there's a question for you: which country holds the majority of shares in ADB Bank? You can give me first two names. So about ADB, this is the Regional Development Bank. It is committed to achieve a prosperous, inclusive and resilient and sustainable Asia and even the Pacific, while sustaining its efforts to eradicate extreme poverty. Here the bank admits the members of UNESCAP, that is United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and Pacific. And the ADB was modeled closely on the World Bank and has a similar weighted voting system where votes are distributed in proportion with members' capital subscriptions. The president has a term of office lasting 5 years and may be re-elected. And traditionally, this is the question for you: which countries are the largest stakeholders or shareholders of the bank? And the president had always been Japanese here. Okay, so that is a hint for you. So ADB is an official United Nations observer. That is what I have said here. So this is all about today's lecture. If you have any query, you can contact me. Thank you.